thanks for joining us back at the Range Report. And as requested by a lot of our viewers, a lot of people said, well, who do you want to see? And this guy's name is one of the top of the list. IraqVeteran8888. Eric, thank you so much for being out here today.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me, Frank. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so now that you're at the show, how many shows has this been for you?
I believe this is number 7 for us.
Number 7.
We actually skipped out on the last couple of SHOT shows. It just wasn't like logistically and fiscally responsible for us to go because it is kind of expensive. So we decided it sort of turned into the drudgery. After 4 or 5 years, it's like you feel like you're just reliving the same thing over and over. We decided to kind of step back for a few years and just sort of let it be fresh again. So this is our chance to go back to SHOT Show and hopefully provide what I hope is a renewed and fresh perspective.
Yeah, well, Lord knows you got enough of your hands, full just with your own channel and when you do your range day and all the rest of that stuff. So things definitely, we know how much work goes into it.
That's right.
But like I said, we know that you've been doing. How long have you had your YouTube channel up and going now?
We are on our 11th year.
Wow.
And we've been doing it full time now for about 6 years. Awesome. So initially it was sort of like a part-time thing in between working at Moss. I would, film in the evenings or whatever, and then go home and edit. And while Brandy's cooking dinner, I'd be sitting there editing videos, and it was hectic, right? Because I basically working 2 jobs. And then it got to a point where the channel was so crazy and growing like mad that we decided, hey, we're going to make a full-time run of it, and we've been doing that for about 6 years now.
That's awesome. Well, now, all right. Now, aside from being pulled out of your seat in the press room to come over and do a silly little interview, what is your number 1 gun gripe about SHOT Show?
Gun gripe about SHOT Show? All right, look. Okay.
This is it. If you haven't attended SHOT Show, this is kind of a trick question.
So all right, I'm going to give you the inside scoop. Hand sanitizer.
Got it.
Airborne.
Got it.
Yeah. Okay. That's pretty much it. Don't drink the water out of the fountain.
Don't shoulder any rifles.
Yeah. Don't shake hands, and if you do, hand sanitizer.
Yeah. The fist bump is one of the preferred methods of physical communication.
I would say even go a step further. Maybe do the air fist bump. Yeah, the air fist bump.
Yes.
Just a figurative, imaginary fist bump would probably be even better.
Oh man, all right. Is there any out of all the new firearms that are on the market now that are just being introduced? What are you looking forward to getting your hands on most?
I saw that new Kel-Tec Integral, the Kel-Tec Sub 2000 that they've got with the integral built-in suppressor. Yeah. That's pretty cool. And it still folds just like a normal Kel-Tec. And, I don't want to tell tales out of school here. I don't know what the MSRP or the price on it's supposed to be. But, dude, if they can keep that gun around the price of like a normal suppressor, they will sell those things like hotcake because it's a one-tax gun. So you do have to have the one tax step on it, but because it's integral, it's basically a suppressor with a firearm attached to it, similar to like the Maxim 9, but really cool.
Yeah, that's something that we're looking forward to. Now, Michael's still up in New York. I'm now down in the great state of North Carolina where I could actually get my hands on some of these things. So we're actually, I have another tactical advantage over my partner as to what we'll be able to do. So that's something that I'm going to be looking forward to getting my hands on.
Yeah, man.
I'm just looking for the Heritage Rough Rider carbine. I've been breaking their balls for 3 years now to say, hey, when are you going to make a carbine? And they finally did. So I just want that little companion gun.
Yeah, Heritage does a great job with their guns. I've dealt with a lot of them over the years, and the cool thing about the Heritage revolvers is that they're a great revolver for a really fair price. Yeah. So it'll be really curious to see what MSRP that gun comes in at. And what have you looked into what chamberings they're going to be in? What 22 and what else?
It's going to be the 22 Magnum as best as I've researched so far. They're not going to be coming out with any of the big bores yet.
Yeah.
I guess they're just testing the waters because they did come out with the long barrel revolver, and and then it was like as soon as I saw that, I was like, when are they going to put a stock on this thing?
Look, I'm going to tell you guys, I've been pushing Henry for years to do a mayor's leg in 4570. And I hope they wind up doing that.
Well, there's a couple of them out on the market now. I know there's a 410 they just came out with.
Right.
I think that's
segueing into they're almost there.
They're almost there. If you can handle the recoil, maybe we'll put a 470.
Yeah, that's right.
But hey, if they can put it in that revolver.
Right. Well, Magnum Research has their BFR.
Yeah, the BFR
so people aren't scared to shoot 4570 out of a short barrel.
I shoot a 500 Magnum. So do you. If you can handle that, you can do a 4570.
It's funny that we're talking about lever guns because those gosh, who is it? Bighorn Customs, I think.
Yeah, Bighorn
that
Armory.
makes the 500 Magnum lever gun.
Yeah, but $4,000 for that thing. I mean, oh my! I mean,
So,
yeah.
all right. So John at the Gun Collective brought one down to the farm one time, and we were shooting it. And at first I thought, yeah, I mean, what is this thing? But yeah, they are expensive, but they are extremely nice.
Yeah.
They are very, very nice guns.
You get what you pay for.
Yeah,
Honestly.
you do.
I mean,
Well, sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
There isn't always an exception.
Colt Python.
Yeah, it doesn't fire in single action. What? Who said? I didn't say that.
But
That's what it is, man.
okay, I mean, you get quality. And when you get quality, you're going to put a little extra money into it.
That's right. I agree.
I mean, me, I really want to look. Have you checked out the Alien pistol yet from Luwago Arms?
You know, a lot of folks have been talking about it. I'm assuming now, I haven't looked at it super close yet, but a lot of people are saying it's like kind of a fancy space Glock. Is that the whole idea, basically, like really kind of, you know, like a fancy candy Glock with all the fixings, right?
I think the selling point of that gun is the extremely low bore axis. The bore axis is almost in line with your index finger, and the way it feeds is completely different. And you look at an out-of-the-box gun that's for either full-size carry or competition because of the way the slides all change off of there without having to swap the barrel. It's really an innovative product, but I just don't know whether or not it's going to live up to that $5,000 price point.
I'll have to go check it out. You know, that sounds really cool. So basically what that is trying to fill the niche of is the not a Glock category. Kind of like, what was that gun? Well, I know the Strike Ones, the Hudson. Yes, the H9. So, you know, I know the owner of Hudson. You know, he's a military officer, and he put a lot of passion and work into that gun. And I can appreciate wanting to step outside of the boundaries and do the best you can. But the gun just ended up not being successful, and I really hate to see that when a small company fails, especially a mom and pop company, and especially a veteran-owned company like his. But it was a cool concept, but I just feel like the implementation of that gun just wasn't quite as good as it could have been. I mean, I know we had a friend of ours buy one, an H9, and ended up having not only reliability issues but accuracy issues. And then we actually had a sample of 2 units. The one that my buddy bought, and then I had another friend buy one. I never bought one personally, but I had 2 friends that did. And out of both of their guns, we had similar issues. So I think the gun just wound up having a lot of teething issues, and it just never quite got there, which is sad because it's a cool gun.
It just wasn't ready for prime time, and then there was some mismanagement issues. And, you know, everybody was disappointed last year at SHOT when they were a no-show, and they were confirmed to be here up until 3 days before SHOT.
I know.
And then the booth was empty, and I just stood there like, well.
No one wants to see a situation where someone chases their dreams and then fails. As Americans, you know, we're not geared to fail. We succeed. We charge in and we do things. We make things happen, right? And no one wants to see that, right? No one wants to see a company go under or do bad things like that. So with this Alien pistol you're talking about, what was it called again?
It's Luwago Arms Alien pistol.
I'm going to go check it out. I've seen a few blurbs about it here and there. You know, we're just coming back from the Virginia rally, so I sent the crew out ahead of me. Yeah, so I'm not quite as abreast of some of the new stuff like some of the folks have that have been here for a day or two, but I will check it out.
We've been following Luwago for about 2.5 years when they first introduced it. We actually got invited out to Germany for the debut for the European market. The ATF had yet to approve it for import to the United States. They cleared those hurdles. Now it's going to be here, and hopefully we can make something of it. But
is it a metal frame pistol or a polymer frame pistol?
Metal.
It's metal. Okay.
All metal frame.
So it's kind of like in the vein of like a CZ75 or something, or you know. It's its own animal.
It's its own animal.
It's a cheetah with stripes on it.
Oh, all right.
It's similar but different.
Okay.
It's a different animal altogether.
With where that barrel axis is, the recoil's going to handle a whole lot differently.
Yeah, they're talking minimal muzzle flip.
Very flat shooting, good fast follow-up shots. Well, cool. I like a low bore axis in a pistol, you know. But there's been some times though where we've dealt with handguns that have a relatively high bore axis, and they do okay too. But I think it just comes down to literally it's just personal preference, and then sometimes.
Well, we saw a couple of weeks ago what a SIG 229 can do from 45 feet away. You know, on a very small target, and that's considerably high bore axis. You know, so.
I know when that Walther PPX came out, you know, it's almost like a high point in a way. Like it's a super high bore axis on that Walther, and I thought, man, there's no way I'm going to like this gun. But actually ended up being pretty fun gun to shoot and ridiculously accurate. And I didn't really feel like the bore axis being maybe a little higher than normal really bothered me that much. So it'd be cool to see what that gun's all about. I'll go check it out.
Yeah, and do a side by side for high and low and see where it comes in between.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to see some T&E on that gun, see it actually perform.
To see if they'll actually let any into the hands of guys like you or us, just to see what they do. But we're looking forward to it. But listen, we've taken up enough of your time. Get back to SHOT Show. I know you had a long drive in or long flight, and get some rest. Well, there you go.
It was very nice meeting you.
This is our buddy, the IraqVeteran8888. Check out his channel if you haven't subscribed. We're going to put his subscription link at the end of this video. If you're not there, get there now. Don't be an ass.